The Council of Light, and we are pleased to begin this transmission. As many of you have intentionally come together as a one collective consciousness, we are bringing in a light-coded transmission today, and that transmission is one for the betterment of humanity as well as for the ascension timeline that you are currently on. There are many messages that we wish to bring through today regarding your collective vibration and the transition that you are walking here upon this planet. As we begin, we ask that you realize that your guides, teachers, and masters are also in assistance today in this collective space, and we are very pleased to welcome them in also to this collective energy. As we begin today, we wish to alert you to many changes that have taken place on your planetary being, reminding you, first and foremost, that your planetary being is a living, breathing, motherly body of energy in which you are all connected. In this connection, in this divine connection, we will call it, there is a distinct sonic resonance, and that sonic resonance has been changed most recently. The changing of this sonic resonance is of great importance for many reasons, because you as vibrational beings are also affected by this resonance in many ways within your expression of duality. There is a hierarchy here that has existed on your planet. This hierarchy has been a structure of lower vibrational consciousness, and many of you know that there is a lower vibrational consciousness that does exist on your planetary being, and that lower vibrational consciousness has had a dramatic effect, both on the structure of your incarnate soul, as well as the vibrational structure of your one collective. In essence, this lower vibrational consciousness has disassembled your structure in a way that it has been functioning outside of your expression of oneness. This expression of oneness we speak of is a love-based frequency. And this love-based frequency is an energy that is of divine nature that we are all honoring of. There is a universal time grid that we often speak of, and that universal time grid is a web of consciousness. And that web of consciousness creates a direct connection between all beings and planetary bodies, star systems in the universe. This universal web of consciousness is what allows us today to access information from your planetary body as well as many others. And as the Council of Light, we are ones who are in great support of the ascension timeline in relationship to this grid. The grid itself is not primarily important that you understand the basis of. But what we ask you to understand today is this hierarchy system that we have alerted you to, the one that has existed on your planet. It has expressed itself in many forms. It has expressed itself in your collective consciousness, in the form of hierarchy of societal nature. It has expressed itself in your governments. It has expressed itself in your institutions. And it has expressed itself in your monetary system. We know, as we know you also are aware, that this hierarchy system that we speak of is the basis by which the love-based frequency is not currently being held on your planet by many. There is a collectively based group of consciousness that is human in nature that has transcended where this system of hierarchy is able to affect it. And we wish to speak today about this hierarchy system in relationship to your ascension here, and how you are better able to transition and transcend it within your physical experience. Because what we see as many who are in support of you in this time is that there is a deep struggle within your personal journeys, within the structure of your vibratory anatomy, that this hierarchy within you is existing. So when you look around your planet and you see these structures of hierarchy, let us take one for example. Let us say it is your government. And within that government hierarchy, there are many programs that you default to in your daily experience that are not equal to the love-based frequency. They're not equal to the sovereign being that you are and have come to be. But these programs, these relationships to the hierarchy still exist. And they are affecting your daily experience. The reason that they are existing within your day-to-day experience is twofold. There are energies that have been created within your experience that we call your identity. What is your identity, really? Many of you think of the ego, and you begin to analyze, where is it that I have gone wrong? Why is it that I don't like myself so much? Or why is it this identity that I have been given is not suitable to who I wish to be in the world? And what we would say is, the energy that makes up your identity has actually been programmed to be relationable to a hierarchy within your societal experience. When we talk about identity, we cannot have this conversation without alerting you to the truth of who you are and how you vibrate. You do have free will here as a human being, as an incarnate soul, but you have also come with an agreement to be a part of a collectively based energy, which is your Mother Earth being in your collective consciousness. And within that collective consciousness, you have understood that there is information there that you must pay attention to, and that told you what you must be and who you must be. So when we look at identity and we begin to break it down into energetic meanings of truth of who you are, we begin to look at the way you have perceived yourself through your collectively based acknowledgement. Have you been acknowledging your collective energy? I would say many of you have, and many of you are beginning to move into a space through and by which you recognize that you are within each and every living being that inhabits this planet. But those who have existed outside of that meaning for many, many years here on this planet have formed what we call resistant energies. Resistant energies are only your energy body not harmoniously resonating in a one. And your singularity has caused this because you have looked outside of yourself to formulate your identity. And where is it, my friends, that many of you are still looking outside of yourselves to formulate your identity? This is one of the issues that we see currently residing within your experience that is most detrimental to your progress here. So many of you may be thinking, well, how is it then that I understand the truth of who I am? How is it that I begin to look away from the things outside of myself that are teaching me that I am a part of this hierarchy? We ask you, how do you use that hierarchy in each day, in each comparison that you make, in each judgment that you have of the self? This is how the hierarchy not only exists within your experience, but it is how the hierarchy continues to exist within your collective experience. Because you see, everything within your singular experience is an ownership of what you wish to see in your collectively based experience. And this is backwards, yes, from the way you thought, because when you arrived here, you looked outside to the world to see, what was it that I needed to know? What was it that I needed to learn? And in that looking outside, you weren't wrong, per se, but the density that you arrived in was one in which you came to change. And it gave you information that was not vibrationally matched to the truth of your identity. The love-based frequency, the sovereign being, the God energy that you are. So as you continue through this transition, which we are going to continue to talk about here today, we ask you first to acknowledge that in this transition, your identities here are beginning to change. Imagine this for a moment. What you saw yourself as and who you saw yourself as in the third dimension can no longer exist here. This might be a difficult type of belief to hold because you feel you have worked so hard, you have earned so much. But we ask you now, my friends, has it paid off for you? This working, this earning, this discovery. When you begin to understand that you are connected to all, and this one consciousness that is calling your name is not existing in a hierarchy, the judgment must drop. The identity that you have accepted here can no longer exist. And you may question this and say, well, I came to be physical. Am I not here to be a part of a physical experience that was pleasing to me? And we would say, yes. In the fifth dimension, there is a physical experience, and it being pleasing to you is of highest importance. But where were you formulating ideas of pleasing based on this hierarchy as well? A hierarchy that told you what pleasing was. A hierarchy that told you what it needed to be and what you needed to acquire or achieve in order to experience this excitement, this happiness. In a collectively based energy, which is all available to you right now, ever omnipresent within the universe, there is no need for a hierarchy. There's no need for judgment. There is no need to anticipate lack, because the energies that reside in this collective space, they enable every being to live in peace, every being to understand the energy within is the catalyst for the experience. And that experience that you wish to have, that is your highest degree of happiness, it is not attached to any identity. It's not attached to anything that has been taught to you outside of the self, whether it be governmental in structure or monetary in structure. It is all crystalline light energy and oneness with truth. We want to discuss now parts of this transition that we feel are going to be very important in the coming months. And many of you understand the records here, that you have divine records within your soul, and those divine records also have a magnetized frequency to a one energy. So there is a collectively based record and there is a singularly based record, but we wish for you to understand that they are all one and the same. They all come from the same energy. So when you are experiencing something here in your singular experience, that collectively based energy is flowing through you. And you are having a manifestation of collectively based experience through your own unique energetic perception. This may sound as if it's not important. Well, I came here to have my own experience. Where is my own experience? You see, in the physical form that you are in, and the unique energy that you hold to perceive, you have been given free will and the connection to source to make anything your own, to make anything to your liking. Knowing that your intention was placed on all receiving the same. When we look into the next couple of months, we wish to give you some information also about the sonic resonance and the changes that we see taking place. There is a new energetic grid, yes, that has been connected to your structure as well as the Mother Earth being. It is one within source energy, and it extends beyond your Mother Earth planet. So it is a part of the universal time grid that has been opened through your intention and through your DNA. The structure of your DNA here as a 12-strand being has been illuminated in a collective light to a source energy that enabled this grid to be enlightened. What does that mean? That means that there are enough human beings vibrating here in a higher dimensional light that you have activated a new grid. And that grid in itself is the DNA of Mother Earth. It's the DNA that you have within you. It's a portal energy. And in that portal energy, there is information. What is density? What is dimension? It is access to information. So you now have the ability, my friends, to reach outside of what you thought was just the operational source within and receive telepathic information beyond this planetary being. Many of you have already experienced this as you've been vibrating in dimensions above and beyond where many here have been operating. But because this new grid is now enlightened and installed, there are structural changes that will begin to take place. Many of you have discussed disclosure here and the disclosure that is taking place on your planet. Disclosure, my friends, is only a function of the structure. It's only the reorganization and availability of new information. That information has always existed. The ability to teleconnect and transform into higher vibrational information. You've always had this ability. It's always been here existing with you. But your structures are now vibrating in alignment with this new grid through your DNA to invite that information in. And what does that look like to you? It is held in the form of communication. It is held in the form of sight. It's held in the form of experience. The dimensional realities that you are experiencing in this moment have always been here. They've always been available to you. It's just that your structure hasn't vibrated in a way that you could access them for many of you. And we see this access now expanding. And many of you that are beyond the capabilities of a fifth dimensional structure understand this telepathic communication we speak of, this sight, the acceptance of messages, the energies. But where we wish to place your attention is on those who have not yet experienced this. Because what we believe is that regardless of whether there are some in your collective consciousness who have transcended the ascension timeline, they are still vibrating in a higher dimension. They still have the same access that you have. So what does it take to receive or to see or to experience these beings in physical form or in non-physical energy? It is a catalyst of vibrational match. So in any moment when you are a vibrational match to information, you receive it. And we see that the light switch, my friends, has been turned on in a very big way here. Because regardless of where you are in your ascension timeline, you are now all vibrating with this new sonic resonance and have illuminated new DNA. And those strands of DNA hold that information. And in any moment, you can connect to it through your free will and through your vibrational stance to teleport yourself, to teleconnect, to receive. There are many on this planet that will not understand the new technology. The technology we refer to as within. That structural, energetic, crystalline energy that you own and vibrate with. We say it is within, but as many of you are aware, it's all around you. It's not just yours to own. It is not owned by any being. It is free-flowing divine presence that you are made of, that you have chosen to assemble into physical form. Those who are not vibrating in the same way that you are may begin to also have these experiences. They will be very lucid, and they will be very difficult in some ways for them to accept. And we believe that you, many of you who come to this message today, are the way showers. You are the way showers in this transition to bringing in the cosmic family, the union of light, and the oneness of those who are here, not only to assist, but to honor the truth of the human collective as a one being. In the lower vibrational consciousness that we spoke of earlier, there are many changes going on there as well that we wish to alert you to. This new collectively based grid of energy is deeply connected to the heart chakra. The heart chakra as a portal to the one connection. The vibration of the sonic resonance of the one collective. You are always doing this, yes? In your conversations with one another, your heart chakras are resonating at the same speed. When you come together in unison through your intention, you create a one vibration. But when we consider that there's a lower vibrational consciousness here, and that the vibrations here have changed, and that many of you are the way showers in that, the good news that we bring is that this lower vibrational consciousness is becoming disassembled in the same way that you are becoming reassembled. This crystalline light energy, this source energy that we speak of, that you are, of which you are made, the more that you are able to understand this source connection as your truth, the more that you live it in each moment, the more that you let go of that identity that we spoke of earlier, the more the hierarchy begins to come down. And the lower vibrational consciousness that has been creating it on your planet. And we speak of that lower vibrational consciousness both as human and non-human. It cannot exist. It cannot exist because in a love-based frequency, there is only love. There is only divine energy. There is only peace. There is only harmony. There cannot be resistance. Is that lower vibrational consciousness completely disassembled? We would say no. In the same way, you are not completely reassembled. Every dimensional consciousness has an ascension timeline that it is constantly evolving through. And the human consciousness will continue to ascend and transcend beyond where you are today. But we know that many of you have struggled with what you have seen take place in your collective consciousness. So the last message we want to bring through today is the reassurance to you of what is taking place here and what is coming for the betterment of humanity. This new collective grid is vibrating at such a higher speed than what your planet has been able to access, that there are new beings who have entered this collective space. And I bring in the Ancient Annunaki, who are pleased to come into this telepathic communication. And what we wish to tell you today is that there are many who are now here in support of the transition of your collective karma. Where you have been in your incarnate soul level, purging dense energies, those dense energies can now be accepted in expedited fashion. And those who have been privy to the design of the hierarchy are now in a state by and through which they must be disassembled. Because there's a divine record here, and that divine record has been triggered. There's an ascension code within Mother Earth, and there is one within you. That divine code through your DNA has been triggered in a timeline that is now open to the support of humanity in a new way. This is why many of you are feeling as if you are lost in the moment, but you are actually found. Because that hierarchy, those things that you had within your physical experience, Those things that are no longer serving you cannot be a part of your reality anymore. You are now in a collective form of energy through and by which the karma is different. It's coming through your planet now. It's coming through your collective union. We realize that there is much suffering here. There have been some experiences that have been difficult to transcend. But if you realize the cosmic hologram that you are in, and the divine duality to source energy that your mother being inhabits and owns, you can begin to see the process of what it is. The history here is being cleared. The karma here that you've experienced through your singular is now being lifted. And as you experience this transition, you become the source through and by which you experience it for the self. Your perception of this timeline, the density that you continue to choose to create around it, the way that you choose to perceive it, all becomes very pivotal in whether that connection to that divine grid of collective energy becomes solidified here and expanded on, or the splitting of the timelines that we've talked about previously becomes something that is irreversible. That splitting of the timelines, that third and fifth dimension that we have seen formed here, is already connecting to the universal time grid into different formalities of energies. That means there are two forms of collective consciousness here. If you consider that lower vibrational form as one that has new weight, new meaning, higher vibration, and more access to information, you can begin to see the concern. So we say, my friends, pay attention. Pay close attention to your physical experience and the way that you are transcending this timeline. Be open to assisting others in their divine connections outside of the self by honoring the truth of your own. And hold true to this new source of collective space through and by which all things are connected. As you navigate this time in the collective consciousness, we believe that you will begin to see beyond the karma and density, holding the space for the new vibratory tools to engage. We've been very pleased and are honored to answer questions.
We have a lot of questions, probably not enough time to get through all of them, so we're going to try the best we can. And I'm going to combine similar questions together so we can answer them in combination. So I'm going to read the first 4 questions, and I'm going to answer those. First question, I've been hearing so much about the Illuminati and the Cabal and halves losing power rapidly now, and even that some are trying to escape via spacecraft provided by Reptilians, etc., and that the Pleiadians are shooting the ships. Yet, if you look at the events in the world, the evidence of this change does not seem to be there. What is really happening? Question number 2, is it safe to live in the USA, or is it time to move to other countries where individuals will be treated with more respect? If so, where are the more higher vibration countries? Third question, there are many disasters around the world. What should we do to stop it? And final, can the universal guides help us if we will not be able to prevent the disasters?
Yes, the ninth dimensional Pleiadians are pleased to come in and answer these questions. We want to start as a basis for these questions by making you all aware that you are creators here. And in the basis of these questions is the negation of that creator energy. Because when you are looking outside of the self at events that you see here on your planet, and you are not realizing that they are actually a manifestation of your consciousness, you are losing your power, the power within, the power to create them differently. So we want to step back and we want to explain again what is happening here and how you can transcend the timeline and step into the changes that you wish to see. Because essentially in these questions is the recipe for what we have spoken of as the embracing of the third dimension and the growing of a lower dimensional consciousness that is one that we believe is already defragmented and continuing in the direction of its defragmentation. You must understand that when you look at the collective consciousness, whether it is within your geographic location or outside, that anything that is happening here on the planet is a timeline that was created through your collective consciousness. We're going to step back and explain timelines for you as singular beings first, so that you can magnify this meaning out to the collective consciousness. You see, each of you in your own consciousness have created many timelines. These are infinite potentials that exist that you are able to experience in any moment. Some of those potentials may be what you call grand or loving or beautiful, and some of those potentials may feel karmic and difficult. When you vibrate with a potential timeline that you have created, and those timelines being created through your energy, it is manifested into physical form. How are timelines created through your energy? You have various vibrational tools that are used to create timelines. These are your thoughts, your emotions, and your frequency. When we look at thoughts, we begin to understand that alone, our thoughts are nothing. You have been given a beautiful mind here in the human consciousness. It is a multidimensional tool, and it is meant to be able to use your frequency to make energy concrete and physical. But you have been taught to use it to your detriment. So when you have a thought, that thought can be very lovely, and it can create a potential timeline that you are running, or it can be a lower vibrational connection to something outside of the self that creates a timeline as well. Your emotion combined with that thought, your emotion is the catalyst for whether or not that timeline is a true potential or not. In other words, of course you have many thoughts throughout the day. Yes, not all of those thoughts are going to create a manifestation. But the ones that have the most vibrational weight are the ones in which you have connected with true emotion. That emotion can be stress, or that emotion can be excitement. That emotion can be fear. That emotion can be love. So as you have these timelines existing, your frequency chooses how they manifest. And your frequency is, for the most part, your free will choosing how it wishes to vibrate. There are ascension codes that you came with that are a part of your incarnation date here, and there are planets that revolve around those incarnation dates. And when those planets create a vibration, you have a catalyst, an energetic catalyst to match a timeline. And then you get to choose through your emotion how you navigate that timeline. The same thing happens in the collective consciousness. Because regardless of your acknowledgement of it, regardless of your knowledge of it, you are affecting everything here on the planet in each moment. So when you have a karmic experience through an ascension code, let us say that you lose your job. The loss of that job was a potential timeline you had running based on a thought that was the catalyst for vibrational emotion, and then you had a trigger. And that trigger was in your frequency, and you matched that timeline. And there was the loss of a job. And now that loss of the job creates suffering, creates fear. In that moment of fear and suffering, that timeline now becomes a potential catalyst in the collective consciousness. And why did it come through you as an experience to begin with? You might think it's new. It is something that you thought about and it was a brand new vibration. Well, you see, there's a cyclical energy here. Everything in the universe is cyclical. It is always flowing and it is always recycling itself. So you actually, in that moment that you lost that job, matched a timeline of history. Something that has happened here before. Perhaps it happened to you in another timeline. Perhaps it happened in the soul level, in physicality. So do you see how everything has an effect on everything else? What is happening right now on your planet is you are accepting a new collectively based space, one that you wish to reside in peace, love, and sovereignty. But to find that space, there has to be a purging of density, a purging of karma. It's the divine record here through which your experience is taking place. So now that purging of that karma becomes your excuse to suffer more. This is how you are staying within a lower dimensional speed and choosing it through your free will. There are many beings who are here in support and have been throughout history. But there are many more now that are able to assist, and we have brought the Ancient Annunaki into this collectively based energy for that very purpose. Because as higher vibrational beings of light, they are innately familiar with the divine record here and the history here on your planet. And yes, they are making provisions by and through which the hierarchies of these reptilian beings and the lower dimensional consciousness that has existed here within your core of Mother Earth to have to exist elsewhere and to have to restructure and reform. So there is support. But there is only so much that can be done because you are also a part. The Ancient Annunaki are not here by their own free will and their own desire. They couldn't have come alone. In some way, you had to match them. You had to match their frequency. You had to allow that transmission, that connection to take place. And it is happening in this moment that you have allowed that connection. There is a transition that we have spoken of earlier, by and through which the collective divine history is purging. And we understand that it is difficult for you to see this because it causes you to lose hope. But we ask you to understand that the hierarchy here is creating its structure and maintaining its structure through your own. So when you begin to tune into this density that is purging, as something outside of you that is catastrophic or is holding you back, you must begin to realize that it is only an energetic purging of collective consciousness. And there are many forms of energetic manifestation here that are higher vibrational that you can direct your attention to be able to see the path that is unfolding before you. We're asking lightworkers in this time to stay very connected to what is the divine truth here. Many of you have asked the higher dimensional beings to come in and take you away, to come in and clear this and save the planet. But you have to realize that you are the creators in it. And you have free will, and we are all honoring of that free will. So in the honoring of that free will, you must be a part of this ascension timeline. And you do that through the tools that you have available, through the new structure that's coming online, and through the choices that you make in each moment.
For the next 3 questions, we'd like to speak with the consciousness of Jesus, please. First question. In the Bible, it was recorded that Jesus made his ascension, as we have also heard this said of saints and other enlightened souls. What is the ascension that we aspire to? Next question. Most of us can see and feel the dramatic changes happening and can sense that something is coming to a head, for example, splitting of the timelines and ascension. Will we actually see this ascension event happen in our lifetimes? There are many who have been hoping for this event for decades, only to be disappointed. What makes now different? And final question. What is my role in awakening the public, especially Catholics, to embracing their higher divinity as hidden by the Catholic Church for centuries?
Yes, so we're speaking to the Christ consciousness in this response. I'm very pleased to invite them in today. We first wish to say that we are going to reiterate the story of the Creator. Many of you who are familiar with the story of the Christ are looking at it in literal form, in the way that this hierarchy that we have been speaking of today has placed it on your planet into your awareness, and the identity that you have chosen based on that story. But you see, the Christ consciousness in itself, the divinity of the truth of the Creator that you are, is within the story. And many of you know that the story in itself was not an easy journey. There was suffering that was held and taken place. There were many that came to assist in that time as disciples of truth and of the honoring of the story. But what we bring your awareness to now is the multidimensionality of the Christ. And you see, as you have been focused in the singular and in the physical, you have made the Christ much of the same. You have made the Christ physical and singular, when in fact, there is a multidimensional energy that is present within the Christ consciousness. It is the universal source energy. It is the reminder of the God. In the same way that your Jesus came to remind you of the God presence and the God truth, many of you have come to this space and time with that reminder as well. In the ascension timeline that you speak of, you wish for a conclusion. When is it that we will see everything that we wish to see happen here? And we remind you that you are infinite beings. All of you have no beginning and no end. And you are operating in linear time. And in that operation of linear time, you are seeing a deadline. There is no deadline here, my friends. The awareness that you have placed into your incarnate being is an energy that is multidimensional, omnipresent, and infinite. So what you are experiencing here in this moment, and the work that you are doing here in this life and in this reality, it affects worlds and beings beyond, and continues beyond this incarnate experience. The hierarchy that we have been speaking of today, which is the constant being, is something that we wish to place inside of you, understanding that in your religions, there has been a hierarchy as well, and that you have been taught the way to relationally put many of these beings, such as the Jesus, into this hierarchy. We want you to begin to understand that you are the Jesus. You are the Creator. That is the essence of the multidimensionality of this story. And many of you who are looking to the suffering and wondering when it will end are not choosing in this moment to see the abundance that you have available to you. This is the biggest problem that we see. There is always, through the hierarchy, a wishing for something better. Through the hierarchy and the identity here, there is a deadline through which that can be achieved. Do you not see that in that vibration there is no creator? In each present moment, my friends, there is grace, there is love, there is abundance. The more that you begin to choose it, the more that you begin to see it, the more that you begin to vibrate it, and the more that you begin to create it. Because the more that you hold on to what you feel is not happening here, and how the loss of your control of it happening is causing you stress, the more you are creating the same thing within your experience and within your collective. So our simple answer to this, to become the creators that you wish to be, to change your collective consciousness, to abolish this hierarchy, is to begin placing your awareness in each moment on what here is already good. What here you have in front of you in this moment that is already beauty, that is already love. And that is what takes it into the expansion of your physical experience. And that is how you become the Christ creator.
Next 4 questions. In a calm and centered state, how can we tell if voices and images we see or hear are from our mind or if they are messages we are receiving? Next question. I'm hearing voices. How do I know if it's my subconscious or if it's spirit? Next question. What is the best way to learn how to hear my guides? And final question. What would cause what is happening during non-intentional out-of-body experiences?
Yes, Psychic Jeremiah stepping in to answer this question is very pleased to connect with all of you today. What we wish to explain is that as we brought forward a message of disclosure and how your structures are vibrating differently and have changed, that all of you now have the capacity to connect telepathically to energies that are higher dimensional. The problem, my friends, is that you are questioning the beauty of the structure as it is vibrating. In the question, where is the vibration coming from? You see, identity comes in to the answer, and the hierarchy comes back in to the identity. Where are you not the teacher? Where are you not the master? Where are you not the one who is a light crystalline being? You are the one who decides. Is it wrong, let us say? Let us give you a scenario to consider. If you are to hear voices within or outside of the self, and you are to accept them as not of the self, is there wrong in that? There is only wrong in that if you perceive the wrong in it. Who decides what is right or wrong? Is there a hierarchy outside of you that decides that, or is the hierarchy within? You see where you have been defaulting to programs, and we believe that truth is always known. Let us talk about the way the structure works for a moment, and you have been given these beautiful human senses as a tool. And those senses for you become the vibratory igniters of your telepathic exchange with the universe. You are each unique in the way the structure comes together and the way that the structure vibrates. And the uniqueness of you is a beautiful tool to tune into, because as you begin to use the uniqueness of you, there is only one thing, one person, that can know truth. And that is you. So the more that you begin to accept that truth comes from within, the more you become less attached to evaluating that truth. When we look at the physical body and the way it is structured non-physically, we believe that your senses are the best tools that you have available to you in the moment. Although we wish to say, as you vibrate more into a fifth dimensional energy, there are going to be new tools that are presented to you. The light body in particular and the pineal gland in particular are two that we believe are being activated most prominently in this moment on your planet. But your extrasensory tools, the ones you are used to, become the beautiful engagement of your truth. Many of you know this. There is something that comes along, information perhaps. Perhaps it's a new acquaintance. And something within your physical body tells you that it isn't right. Maybe there is danger there, or maybe you sense that something isn't going to be pleasing to you. How many of you acknowledge the way that your physical body is tuning you to truth? The more that you acknowledge it, and the more that you honor and use it, the more it becomes reliable. And the more the hierarchy within that is defaulting to judgment begins to deconstruct, begins to let go. And your identity becomes the tool that you rely on, the truth of who you are, and the more that you receive. We want to further say that as you go through this transition into the fifth dimension, you are vibrating into a new structure. So your extrasensory tools, although they have served you in the past, are becoming more integrated. And they are becoming more integrated with your chakras, the chakras being portals, and that portal energy being a very important part of how you will interconnect with the universe. Harmony within the chakra fields becomes a very important aspect of your transition. And this is why many healers in this time have been activated to do their work in a more collectively based energy, because your chakra fields are going to be functioning more collectively as one. When we speak of the physical body, we ask you to understand that any discomfort that you're feeling in the physical body, any pain, any disease, has information for you, and that information for you is where you can tune into resistance within the chakras. Those portals need to be open wide and are going to be integrating much more information, allowing the light body to travel into higher dimensions. Many of you are already doing this in your sleeping hours and in your meditative states. And that is because you're achieving a different vibration than during your waking hours. But imagine now, during your waking hours, being in complete harmony in the chakras and using those portals as balanced, available, and open to receive. Your extrasensory is going to be vibrating much more sensitive than what you even knew it could. In other words, you're going to be bringing new senses online. This telepathy that we speak of, and that is what we will call it, is an inter-exchange with the universe. It's an inter-exchange with Mother Gaia, with nature, with other beings, and with interdimensional access. That is where you're headed with your truth. You see, when you receive information and you believe it is outside of you, what you must change that thought to is that you matched the information within. When you match the information within, you realize that it is all within your power and it is all within your structure.
We're running a little behind schedule, so we're going to take one more question and then we'll wrap it up. So, 3 questions for this one. What is the specific mental exercise that we can perform to transform limiting beliefs daily? Next question, how do you deal with the feeling of going backwards? Is it possible? And final question, I used to ignore negative forces, but recently have been guided to include clearing them in my work. What information or guidance might you have with regard to this topic?
Yes, so we want to start with a mental process. We are the Pleiadians of 9th dimensional energy. The mental process is a tricky one because many of you default to that. And what we wish to say is that the mental body in itself is something that has been taken offline through this lower vibrational, what we call reptilian consciousness that has existed on your planet. And it is a very easy part of your structure to be taken in this direction, because there are many forces outside of yourself vibrationally that you do not recognize that are used to take the mental body into a state that is not agreeable with truth. So we decide for you to help yourself that the best practice is to vibrate outside of the mental body. So when you are having a thought, check within the extrasensory, as in the previous question, as to what is the vibration that matches the thought. Your emotional body has been what we call the dominant source of your vibration here, and the tool you have used for manifestation. That vibrational source of the emotional body is always directed by the mind. So when you begin to check in constantly and daily with your emotional body and connect it to your thoughts, you can begin to realize the truth of the creator that you are and what you are creating in any moment. You see, when you have repetitive thoughts, you are creating a pattern of energy that becomes structural within the physical body and within the energy body. Everything is energy. You believe you are physical. We relate to the physical body, but you are pure crystalline light. So if you have a pattern of the mind that is running constantly, it is creating a pattern. And that pattern becomes a concrete imprint that you now default to, a program. It is very easy to break these patterns, and it is very easy to release these imprints. All you have to do is see them for what they are. All you have to do is shed light on them. So yes, we believe catching the mental body is very important. But the way that you catch the mental body is to always be cognizant of how you are vibrating with your emotions. Regarding lower vibrational energies and entities, we would say that many of you believe that, again, you are not in control of what is vibrating around you. And you are very much so able to clear the physical body of lower vibrations. But we want to alert you to the vibrational scale, and many of you are aware you are either vibrating in a state of fear or vibrating in a state of love. And there are many emotions along that scale that are leading to one or the other. So when you have a lower vibrational attachment, let us say if you are speaking in regards to spirits or beings that might be present within your energy, it would be very clear to you to understand that you are vibrating in fear. So our recommendation to you would be to perhaps acknowledge where that fear is coming from and scrutinize where you can lift that vibration of fear and change it through your energy. Your guides, your beings, your masters, and you have many who are here to support you, are able to assist you in releasing karma, releasing density, healing lower vibrations. But again, we are going to alert you to your free will. Your free will is your choice in any moment to vibrate with any experience. So you have to honor that you are a part of that experience, regardless of the help or the assistance that you receive. Asking your beings and your guides to come in and being intentional in that is a beautiful acceptance. But know that the reason that lower vibrational entity or being is perhaps connected is that you have a fear-based vibration that you are running. Clearing that fear-based vibration can be done through your guides. It can be done through healers. but you must also own an intentional part in that experience. And your intention is what keeps it clear.
Let's do one more question.
Mm-hmm.
These are 2 questions. How can a person help someone with cancer or chronic illness, and what is the key to enjoying life and good health?
Yes, the Pleiadians step back in again, and they are reminding us of the previous answer. The disease of cancer, my friends, is essentially a vibration of fear. And that vibration of fear has caused a pattern within the physical body at the cellular level that is taking the sacred geometric patterns of harmony and throwing them into chaos. So there is an intentional action on behalf of the being that has assimilated this disease to honor their vibration and own their vibration in any moment. When we speak of cancer, what we wish for you to realize is there is also a distinct relationship to the hierarchy we have been speaking of again and again in this message. There's a lower vibrational consciousness here, and that consciousness is creating through you. They cannot create through you unless you are existing in a lower density. And that lower density is the disease that we speak of in many forms. How is the cancer different from the man who is depressed? How is the cancer different from the man in pain? You see, it is all the same. You create it differently based on the way that the sacred geometric patterns that you hold are aligned. So when you imagine this and you understand this, you must understand that energy becomes the focus in any health manifestation. You are physical beings, and many of you are still existing in your physicality and still may look for physical means. But you must evaluate closely those physical means to be equal to the pure well-being and the pure health that you wish to achieve. For example, if you are choosing chemical means, we don't wish to place judgment on you and say that that is wrong, but we wish for you to evaluate the vibration of the solution that you are choosing. And understand that anything that goes into the physical body is going to cause a pattern. And there are patterns already there. Your basis for well-being and pure health is the acceptance of your creator energy in connection to the God source frequency, the 0 point, the neutrality in any space, in any timeline, in any moment. And what is that neutrality? It is your free will to vibrate with truth. Acceptance in the moment, not reaching outside of the moment, not expanding your energy into fear, not allowing the mind to be the tool through which you create, but allowing source energy to take the lead. And we believe in the coming year to a half, there will be many on your planet that will be experiencing physical disease and pain. The reason for this is not that they were meant to suffer. The reason for this is that they are still defaulting to their singularity in the physical and creating more density that is causing the sacred geometric patterns we are speaking of to be disharmonious. So the simple answer, my friends, is to continue to hold your vibration high. Any manifestation in the physical body is informational for you. It is giving you the opportunity to expand into a new dimension. Any timeline can be transcended when you bring that new dimension to it. And that is your free will choice.
Mary, please. Conclude the session for us.
Yes, we have been very pleased to bring this energy through today. And as many of you are integrating the energies today, we are in great support of you throughout your transition here. And we wish you many blessings and much peace.